In the era of ever-inflating movie budgets, no other time period was quite like what happened during the worldwide health crisis in 2020, where studios paid incomprehensible amounts of money to produce their films under complex conditions few could have possibly imagined prior. And now, thanks to an article by Caroline Reed of Forbes, we have information pertaining to the most expensive movie ever made, stripping Disney of a crown that they likely desperately wanted stripped from them. Let's talk about Universal Studios spending over $500 million on Jurassic World Dominion, beating out The Force Awakens for the most expensive movie ever made, here on That Park Plays.
We need to talk about something that I was not expecting out of Caroline Reed over there in the UK. One of the best reporters out there at Forbes, covering things that nobody else covers in trade publications. Her and Valiant Renegade have a lot of back and forth on stuff. I've had the pleasure of discussing a few things with Caroline in the past. There's been one occasion that I have beaten her to a headline, but this one came out of nowhere here. This one of the bigger theme park properties in the world, not usually one of the ones you think about when you talk about the biggest theme park properties in the world. Usually Star Wars is near the top of that list, even though no one thinks about theme parks when they think about Star Wars. I said it, I mean it, and I hope that Disney understands it. But let's get into this. Cost of latest Jurassic World movie roars past $1 billion. Look at that. That is not a very good photo of that T-Rex right there. I feel like the camera adds about 10 pounds, and there's probably about 30 cameras on that T-Rex in that shot. That the bags under her eyes there. The cost of making the two latest Jurassic World movies has surged to $1.1 billion, or 885 million pounds, according to documents recently filed by Universal Pictures. The monster spending spree includes $583 million on Jurassic World Dominion, making it the most expensive movie of all time. Oh my goodness. Vash, have you seen Jurassic World Dominion?
You know what? I actually haven't. I'm not familiar with it. I'm going to go ahead and have some stuff playing in the background to give us I mean, maybe this is where they should have spent $500 million, which this is already very impressive. But when I think about Jurassic World Dominion, I think about, you mean that one that didn't do very well and nobody saw? So the fact that it went that high and exploded in budget is absolutely insane, because I don't think anybody really regards that as their favorite. It's also interesting too to note that this was also during the kind of the pandemic period where we saw the explosion of so many different budgets throughout Hollywood. Obviously, we've tracked them a lot on Disney's side with like Wakanda Forever, for example, or The Little Mermaid and all that. But to see this explode to almost $600 million was truly alarming.
Yeah, and I'll say, as a person who really enjoys the Jurassic Park movies, by the way, I watched Jurassic Park, the original, just a couple of days ago with my kids, specifically my boys. It like blew their minds. I guess they hadn't seen it for a while, so they were coming to it fresh. So many questions, that is how you know you've got a good movie on your hands, when you leave the theater, well, in this case, leave the living room couch, and you have questions about how would that work, and whether or not they're going to do a real Jurassic Park one day, which I asked them, did you watch the movie? Did you watch the movie? Do you really, really want that? And they asked, like, well, in the second one, does everyone come back? I'm like, oh, well, no, not exactly. Some of them didn't even make it to the end of the first film. But, Theme Park Wizard brings up in the chat here, let's see, all three Jurassic World movies got over $1 billion. Yes, Jurassic World definitely made a metric rear ton of money here. But let's bring this up for just a second so everyone can see. Jurassic World Dominion did not quite make what it needs to make if you have a 453, which, by the way, is like 100,000 pounds more than what they've got on the books for Force Awakens, a movie that made quite a bit more. Jurassic World Dominion here coming in for 376 at the domestic, 627 at the international, therefore worldwide combined of $1 billion. This movie did not make its money back.
No, not at all. I mean, $583 million. Roughly, you have to make 3 times. This movie had to get over, I think, crest 1.2 or something like that in order to make its money back and then achieve profitability. You do not venture into this kind of exercise to lose money in this way. Maybe they made it up in other ways, in some material, merchandise. I'm not sure, but this is also why they rebooted the franchise the way they did, because obviously it was a profitable one, but it was one that had gone off the rails a little bit.
Right. Well, let's see. I think if I just go back one here, it'll give you a better idea here. So if you look, Jurassic Park didn't make it into this list. Amazing. But Lost World with 618 million globally, more that 230 is what they were thinking about here. Then there was a Jurassic Park 3, which we choose to forget at times. Jurassic World coming in with $1.7 billion. That is the one that has them greenlighting all of these sequels. Fallen Kingdom at 1.4. You know, what's interesting, J.A. Bayona directed Fallen Kingdom, and they really deviated quite a bit in that one. I personally thought they should have named it Jurassic World: The Lost Park, as like a play on the Lost World Jurassic Park, but to each their own. That's also the one where they introduce a different kind of cloning, much in the same way that Transformers Dark of the Moon, or I forget if it was Revenge of the Fallen, those Transformers subtitles break my brain with how generic they are, where they introduced human Transformers. And then they promptly forgot that they introduced human Transformers. These have gone off the rails a little bit, but Jurassic World Dominion is, of course, the combination of the Jurassic World cast with the Jurassic Park cast, with those who have passed away not making it into the film there. That's the one where you would think they could market that enough to say, here's your big reunion movie, but didn't seem to work out that way. So, and now they're doing one where it's Scarlett Johansson and that guy from Bridgerton. And I think also Mahershala Ali in his first post-Blade role, if I could say that with a little bit of humor. I'm shocked that they got these movies up to the, I don't know, what $600 million mark here. Sorry, $583 million mark. That is a lot of money for movies that I would not expect to cost that much.
I would agree. I mean, it's just, I don't know where the money was necessarily spent. I mean, obviously Dominion had a much bigger cast than, let's say, the 2 prior films. In order to bring the Jurassic back together again, as the Elephant points out here. And obviously Chris Pratt, he demands a little bit of money as well. So this, as I was saying before, this definitely needs a reboot. Whether or not Scarlett Johansson's really going to bring people to the theater, I'm not quite sure on that. Obviously, she's a big time actress, no question about it. But are people hungering for a Scarlett Johansson led Jurassic World movie? I'm not quite sure on that. And while the trailers look very interesting, I don't know if they have me personally convinced. But hey, you know what? Theme Park Wizard, he's going. And I will say the Jurassic World attractions, pretty good. So from a theme park standpoint, I really do hope it does well, because that means we get all kinds of great dino stuff. But we'll see. Yeah,
they have been the first name in dinosaurs for a very long time. And now they've got competition from Legendary Pictures and the King Kong and Godzilla films. But it's not quite the same there. I have the extended edition of Jurassic World Dominion available to me, and I still have not seen it. I think I'm probably going to end up watching through the entire series before I watch that one. Probably not going to happen. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a good use of money.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.